Hello everyone, this is Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am going to discuss about the concept of problem solving on DCL commands. Problem solving on DCL commands. So DCL stands for what? Data Control Language. Data Control Language. So how we are going to control the data access? How we are going to control the data access? So in the DBMS, there are different types of ways to control of accessing the data. So how we are going to control? We can give permissions to access them or not. We can access different types of data by assigning some privileges to the particular users. So how we are going to control giving the access to the specified user or those who are authorized to access the data. So data control language. So generally we have a main commands like grant and revoke. So grant and revoke. So we can give the access by granting the privileges, and we can revoke the privileges by disgranting the privileges. So if you want to give the grants, if you want to give the permissions or privileges to the user, you can proceed with the grant command. You can proceed with the grant command. Or else, if you want to roll back your privileges from the user, then you can use the command as what? Revoke. So here grant command. So grant and revoke are the two data control language commands. Grant and revoke are the two data control language commands. So grant command is used to giving the access or permitting the access to the particular user. So granting privileges. That means giving access to the user. And revoke means those who are taking the privileges, we are going to roll back the privileges from the user. So we are going to roll back that, revoking the permissions, revoking the privileges from the user. So generally there are two types of users. One is administrator, and the second one is normal database user. So administrator and normal database user are the two roles, those who are accessing the data. But the administrator can create a users as well as delete the users, as well as granting privileges to the particular particular database user. So a normal administrator can creating the users as well as deleting the users or managing the users also. That means those who are authorized to access the data, they can give the privileges to the users to access the data. Or else the persons, those who are not authorized, can revoke the permissions, revoke the privileges from that user. So here, how we are going to create the user actually. So here, the creating user, the syntax is what? Create user, username @localhost identified by the password. So whenever you want to create the user for the database, like creating the database user, you need to use the syntax what? Create user and the username. This is where you have to mention the username, and @localhost. This is specified by your system. If you want to specify, then you can specify, or else no need to specify it. So you create user, username identified by the password which you are giving for the user. So here example, create user Manu is the username identified by Manu is the password. So username Manu and password is also Manu. So which is acting as a credentials for the database users. These two are acting as a credentials for the database users. So after using this syntax, after creating that user, the query OK 0 rows affected. That means it executed 0.05 seconds. So after creating the user, as an administrator point of view, you can see the list of users in the database. So how many users are created till now and how many users are active in the database till now, you can use it. So how can you see that? Select user from mysql.user. So the syntax is different for different types of databases. So here we are using MySQL. For this MySQL, we can use the syntax select user from mysql.user. That indicates that what? How many of the users are created in the MySQL. We are going to retrieve all that users. We are going to retrieve all that users. So select user from mysql.user. So we'll see how it works and what it displays actually. So here select user from mysql.user. After typing this, it is displaying what? The users, different types of users. So Anu, Manu, one system, new user, Peter, root. So by default, root is the user for all the other users. So this is indicating that what? All the users are displayed. All the users are displayed. So 1, 2, 3, total 7 rows in a set. 7 rows in a set. And now this query is executed within the 0.00 seconds also. And now this is the way of showing all the list of users. Now if you want to see the current user, so who is the user at present right now? Who is the user at present? Then you can see select current user. Select current user. So select current user. So it indicates that what? The current user who is on the system, who is accessing the system right now will be displayed. So select current user indicates that what? Who is log on to the system, current user will be displayed. So here select current user. Select current user. So that indicates that what? Current user is what? Root @ localhost. So that indicates what? The administrator is in user mode. Administrator is in user mode. And this executed within the 0.00 seconds. So the query is executed and it displays current user. So root @ localhost. And if you want to see the user information, so to see the description of user, so DESC, the command shows what? DESC stands for description mysql.user. So description of mysql.user. That indicates that what? The all the users from MySQL software, MySQL database is going to be described. So how it describes the use and every user. So here it displays all the users. So DESC description space mysql.user indicates it displays all the different types of users. So here it displays with the columns like a field, type, null, key constraints, default, extra, like this. All the different types of attributes are displayed. So all these attributes are related to the users. All these attributes are related to the user. So what is the field? Host. So what type of it is? Database. What type of it is? Data type? Character. And the null constraints and the primary constraints, yes. And similarly for the user, for the password, select privileges, insert privileges, update privileges, delete privileges, creating privileges, drop privileges, reload privileges, shutdown privileges, process privileges. For all these fields, each and every type of data type is displayed, and if any primary key constraints or any other key constraints is also displayed. And if you want to see list of users, host, to see the list of users, we already used that command is what? To see list of users, we can use select user from mysql.user. Similarly, with this, we can use users as well as host. So select user, host. So if you want to see the user only, you can mention user. If you want to mention both user, host, then mention select user, host from mysql.user. So see how it works. So select user, host from mysql.user. So this executes what? It displays both user as well as host. So for creation of the user, when you are trying to create the user, it is identified with the localhost as well as a password. So what is the localhost? If you are specifying the localhost, then it is displayed the host is what. If you are not specifying that localhost, it is not specified as the host. It specifies only users along with the hosts. So here Anu, Manu, one system, second user, new user, Peter, root are the users. For these all users, these are the local hosts. So these are the hosts. These are the hosts to the particular users. So this is the way you can see the list of users, list of hosts from MySQL database. MySQL database. So to creating the user is over. So how to grant privileges to the user? So generally privileges are nothing but what? So giving the accessing permissions. So he wants to inserting permission, he wants to take an inserting values, he wants to take an updating value, he wants to take a deleting value, or he wants to take dropping the tables or dropping the values. So to give a privileges to do this all. So give privileges to do this all. The database user has to privilege it. The database user has to privilege it. So to grant all privileges to the user. So to grant all the privileges to the user, the syntax is what? Grant all privileges. Grant all privileges on star dot on star. So it indicates star dot star indicates that what? All indicates that what? All privileges. So all privileges are nothing but insert, update, delete, drop. You can use all the privileges. To whom? To user. To user. So user is what? New underscore user. At the rate specifies local host also. If it is host, if it is specifies host, then you can specify. If it is not specified, then you no need to specify the host also. So now I am giving the syntax here. Grant all privileges on star dot star to second user at the rate localhost. Second user at the rate localhost. That means I am trying to give an access of all the privileges to the second user who is identified by localhost. So now after executing this command, it displays what query? Okay, 0 rows affected, and this query is executed within 0.00 seconds. So now this query is executed and displays the privileges also. So displays the privileges also. So this is the way you can specify, you can provide, you can grant all privileges to the particular user. Or else if you want to specify a particular privilege to the user, particular privilege to the user means you need to specify that what privileges you want to assign. So here I am assigning the privileges only create and select. So create and select. I am giving an access to create a table as well as selecting a table to the particular user. So here that indicates that what? Grant, create, comma, select. So you need to specify the privileges types, what type of privileges you are applying. On star dot star indicates the users to the username is what? Second user. Username is what? Second user at the rate localhost. Second user at the rate localhost. Now the query is executed with a less amount of time. So after executing this, you can specify the privileges also. So now I granted privileges to the users. So to the new user, second user for all the privileges, and here create, comma, select privileges to the second user. So now if I want to see that privileges are assigned to the particular user or not, so you need to see the privileges. So how you are going to see? Click on show privileges to the user. So using show privileges to the user. Show grants for. So you need to specify the command type what? Show grants for second user at the rate localhost. Show grants for second user at the rate localhost. So that means here we need to specify the user type. So who is the user? And we are going to see the privileges are assigned to this user. Privileges are assigned to this user. So after typing this command, after executing this command, it displays the user privileges. So here show grants for second user at the rate localhost. Show grants for second user at the rate localhost. It displays the grants. What are the grants we are privileged to? What are the privileges we are granted to the user? So grant select comma create on star to star. That means indicating all the tables to second user identified by the password. So the password is also encrypted. The password is also encrypted. So this is the way to see the list of users. See the list of users having the privileges. List of users are granted. List of user is granted for the particular privileges. Particular privileges. So in this example, we are specifying only create comma select privileges to the particular second user. So here it displays only the two privileges. What those two privileges? Select comma create only. To whom? To second user. To whom? To second user. As well as identified by the password also it displays. Identified by the password also it displays. So this is the way to creating the user and granting the privileges to the user which is specified and more than one specified. So now how we are going to log in as a user. So how we are going to log in as a user. So to log in as a user, so before login as a user, the user has to privilege it with the root user. User has to privilege it with the root user. So that means the administrator. So first user is what? Administrator. Administrator has to privilege. Administrator has to grant the privileges. Grant the privileges to whom? To user. Grant the privileges to database user. So grant the privileges to the database user. So before login as a user, the user has to privilege with the root user as mentioned above grants option. So in the previous slide we mentioned that grants options. That means a new user having permission to log in as a user. So now to acting as a new user, we have a permission. We have to granting that permissions to log in as a user. So now to log into different user account, we need to open the command prompt. We need to open the command prompt. So we need to open the command prompt by executing the run command. Executing the run command. So open the run command window from your system. So just typing on command cmd, click on OK. So after click on OK, it displays. You can see the command prompt. So after click on the OK, it displays the command prompt. So this is the your user account. This is the your system account. So after opening this system window, you need to move the path. You need to move the path. So from here, from this path to you need to move where your SQL database is located. So in the command prompt, so to log in as a user, what we need to do in the command prompt, the path is there. So the path is there. From that path move to database location path. Move to database location path. So where your database is located, it is located in MySQL 5.5, and where it is located actually C program files. So we need to go to that path. So here now move to the path where MySQL has been specified. Where MySQL has been specified. So where it is specified in our system, in C drive and program files x86, that MySQL folder is there, and in that MySQL server 5.5 is there, and a bin option. So binaries will be there. So we need to move to this path. That means you have to log in this path. So now as shown in below, we have mentioned up to bin. So next we need to type the syntax. To login as a user. We need to type the syntax as a login as a user. So how we are going to login as a user? So type MySQL space minus dot. So MySQL space minus u. That indicates that what username, and here you need to specify that username, what username exactly, and specify minus p. that indicates that what? Password. That indicates that what? Password. So type MySQL space -u space username space -p. So that indicates what? I am going to accessing MySQL server by providing the username and password with the privilegation by the privilege by the user administrator, with the privilege by the administrator. So see how we are going to open. So now after you typing this command mysql -u, that indicates that what? Username. So the username is what? Second user. The username is what? Second user, and -p. So -p indicates that what? P, password. After typing this all the command, mysql space -u space the username space -p. After typing this all, it is asking you to enter password. It is asking you to enter password. So already we assigned the password when we are creating the user, right? So when we are creating the user here, so here identified by password. So that password you need to type here, where you need to type here in this command prompt, enter password, paste. So here you can type that password. After typing that password, it displays what? Welcome to the MySQL monitor. Commands end with slash or slash g, and your MySQL connection ID is 7, and the server version is also 5.5.27. MySQL community server general public licensing. So it displays all that information with the copyrights 2000 and 2011, and Oracle and its affiliates, all rights are reserved. So with this all the information is to be displayed. All this information to be displayed. So Oracle is a registered trademark of Oracle Corporation, and it is affiliated. Other names may be trademarks of their respective owners. So type help or /h for help, or type /c to clear the current input statement. So this is the way to log in as a user. So now after login as a user, you can create the tables. You can perform the DML operations on the table. So whatever the normal administrator can use all the DDL and DML commands, the same way here the user is creating all these DDL and DML commands. So he can able to create all these commands. So this is the way how to log in as a user, and how we are going to giving the permissions to the particular user, how we are going to access. So once again we revise the topic which we discussed in this session. So before that, how to revoke permissions also. So to revoking the permissions also, we can use the same command, revoke all privileges. So if you want to revoking all the privileges from the database, from the user, so revoke all permissions from user. So revoke all privileges on *** from second user @ localhost. That indicates that what? From which user I am going to revoking all privileges. So from second user I am going to revoking all permissions from the user. So now query OK, and it displays 0 rows affected, and the query is executed within 0.00 seconds. So this is the way to revoking all permissions or all privileges from the particular user. So now user is created, granting permissions to the user also accepted, then revoking also done. So after that, how to drop that users from the database? So to drop that user, you need to specify what? Drop user, username you need to specify @ host. So username @ host. What type of host is going to be authorized to the user? So you need to specify both username and localhost. So here type this command, drop user second user @ localhost. Now the query is executed. So query OK, 0 rows affected. That indicates what? The drop user is successfully dropped. Drop user command executed successfully, and the user with the name second user, can be dropped from the database. So he was deleted from the database. So this is the way to drop your user from the database. So this is all about how to grant permissions, how to revoke permissions, how to drop the permissions. So once again, we discuss what we discussed in this session. Will revise. So here first we indicates that what? Data control language. So what is meant by data control language? So to perform control operations on the data, so like granting the data, accessing the data, or revoking the permissions from the data. So to the user, we need to specify the privileges. So what type of privileges we are going to assign? What type of privileges we are going to assign? So to do that, we have to create an user. To do that, what? We have to create an user. So how to create the user? So create username @ localhost identified by password. So example, create user Manu identified by password Manu. So now user is created. So after created the user, how to see the list of users in database? So to see the list of users, select user from mysql.user. Select user from mysql.user. So after typing this one, the database shows that what? How many types of users will be there. So it displays all the users. So like that. If you want to see the current user, to see, just select current user. Just type select current user. So it indicates that what? Current user. So it displays only the current user. And to see the description of that user. So description of that user means user related attributes will be displayed. So DESC description space mysql.user. Type that one and see the list of attributes that are presented to the particular user will be displayed. To see list of users comma host. So both you need to see users comma host, then select users comma host from mysql.user. So you need to specify that both user comma host. So to granting all privileges to the user. So perform grant operation to the users, you need to specify the syntax what? Grant all privileges on *** to new user @ localhost. So grant all privileges. So all privileges are nothing but what? Create, select, insert, update, delete, drop. All these privileges. All these privileges are to be supplied to the user. Those who are the user. And if you want to specify particular grants, so grant, create, select. So you need to specify that type of privileges. And to see the list of privileges are assigned to the particular user, show grants for second user @ localhost. Show grants for second user @ localhost. So this is the way to show the permissions, show the privileges for the particular user. And after creating the user, how to log in as a user? So to log in as a user, we need to go to the command prompt window. So in that command prompt window, you have to move to the path where your MySQL server has been installed. So go to the MySQL server setup file, MySQL server installed location, and there you can type your MySQL server, and you can use the syntax to log in as a user. MySQL space -u space username -p. So that indicates that what? The username with the identified password is going to be login as a MySQL user. So type the MySQL user. It displays all the information about to starting. So after it displays all, it is going to ask you to revoke your permissions also. So if you want to revoke the permissions, you can use the command what? Revoke all privileges on ** from second user. So this is the user name. And this is the host name. So username and host name you need to specify. and now the query is executed and all the privileges will be revoked from that user. So now the user who was revoked privileges can not able to access selection of the table, as well as not able to create the creating the table, not able to access the selection of the table, not able to access the creation of the table. And to drop the users also, simply we can call it as what, drop username. So what user you want to drop, you need to specify the username identified by localhost. So this is all about to creating the user. So who will create all these? The administrator. Administrator is responsible. Administrator is responsible for creating the user, and granting privileges to the user, as well as revoking privileges from the user, and drop the user also. So administrator responsibilities are what? So creating the users, granting privileges to the user, revoking privileges from the user, and displace and drop the users also. So after granting the permissions, normal database user can able to perform all DDL and DML operations. Perform all these DDL and DML operations. So that is all about to creating users and granting privileges to the user, revoking privileges from the user, dropping the user. So thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.